Beat the heat, 5 small marketing tweaks you can make this summer to multiply your growth this fall. And I need to address this because it's like tweaks. We're talking about small things. Yes, we're talking about small things. In fact, I want to jump into a story about the power of small tweaks because I think small things can actually have a larger lift than we think. When I was 15, I actually had the opportunity to do what these two guys are doing in chopping down a tree. I got invited to someone's private property. They needed a massive tree chopped down to build a log cabin that was like 100 feet away from this tree. And me and a dozen other guys came, and we were all going to take turns chopping down this tree. And I remember thinking, I was 15 and feeling studly. And I was like, man, I wish there weren't as many people. I want to chop this tree down all by myself. And if any of you ever like have chopped some wood, you probably have an understanding of like how wrong I was going to be about how easy it was going to be to chop and drop this whole tree, because 12 of us kind of rotated through. And then when it was my turn, I was like, all right, here we go. And you start swinging that thing like a baseball bat. You know, after a dozen swings, I was pretty much done, because it takes a lot of swings in order to chop down a tree. And after we rotated through the dozen of us multiple times, we finally got this tree to fall. And that's the power. It takes just a ton of little tiny things in order for something big to come down, in order for a big project to actually be completed or seen through. A lot of the goals we have for our institutions are big projects. They're mighty things that need to happen. And today I want to offer some small tweaks that actually have disproportionate leverage in being able to drop a mighty tree in order to have some of these big, large numbers that we want to have come down. So with that, I want to actually jump into some numbers, like look at some of these things that we want to have accomplished, and take a look at like a typical funnel. We have inquiries, started apps, completed apps, and enrolled students. So this is actually a funnel that I had working for an institution myself. We had 3,500 leads, right? And you might ask like, well, okay, 3,500 leads, but what if it converts at about a 7% conversion rate? You get 3,500 inquiries coming in. That means you get 245 started apps. You convert 50% of those, you have 123 completed apps. And of course, we go to 50% conversion rate on those, and we end up with 61 students. And that's the math. That's our funnel, going from 3,500 inquiries down to 61 students. But what happens if we go and just change one little number here? We just take this from 7% to 10%. Well, we have a 44% increase. Even though we've only increased the inquiries by 3%, we're seeing 44% more students added to our bottom line. So just little tiny tweaks that can be repeated over and over again end up having a massive impact on the amount of students we can have into our university. So let's tweak it a little bit more. Maybe we're being ambitious. We have a number of initiatives on the table, some that are going to help us improve our inquiries. We have a robust follow-up program. We have a few things that we're doing to start more apps. Maybe we've added a new portal. We've added a chat bot to our application system to be able to handle questions. Maybe we've added some new measurements or systems to be able to improve our completed apps to actually putting down the deposits and enrolling. So we're feeling confident we can get that up just a little bit. Well, what does that end up looking like with just a few bumps? We're going from 50% to 55, 50 to 52. It seems small, but you add all these little initiatives up, all these tiny strokes, we end up with double the amount of students. So little tiny swings, little tweaks over a long period can end up having massive results. And I know from experience, because this is exactly what we did at an institution I worked at, and a bunch of little small tweaks over time tripled the enrollment of this one institution. So I'm speaking with some confidence. I wanted to share 5 that I felt like were the ones that actually worked the best. So of all the tweaks we made, not all of them worked. Some of them led to worse results. But I wanted to share the 5 that actually led to the biggest outcomes that you can apply, hopefully, without having to redo a massive system, right? And small, something you could possibly do within the next 2 weeks that can actually help you get more students over this next fall. So let's take a look at what they are. the most overlooked page on your website? So I want to see you down in the chat. What do you think the most overlooked page on your website is? The page that actually has a disproportionate impact on your applications? Here's a hint. Oh, I just blew right to it. Skipped over my hint. Oh, well. Your inquiry thank you page. If some people are probably looking at this and being like, wait, what page is that? Your inquiry thank you page. It's a page that your hottest leads see every day. But if you changed it to today, I guarantee you probably nobody on your staff is going to even notice that you changed it. Your hottest leads see this every day. And to kind of give you an idea here, I went to Lipscomb University and kind of audited what their page currently looks like. This is a private university local here in my area of Nashville. And the page is actually this request information page we have going on at the top here. And some institutions don't have this page. And I would argue, like, if you don't have this page, it's probably the most important page on your website. It's more important than the apply button. It's more important than this giving button. They're emphasizing, you can tell it's probably more of an advancement driven website. I would say the request information is more important. You could probably have the apply button and down here in admissions somewhere. This one's more important because it's a bigger jump to get someone from just viewing the website to apply. So this is the halfway in between. Request more information. So let's go and see what happens. This is the form. I filled it out. Oh, dang. I'm skipping forward a little too fast on this one. But all I got was this one page that said your response has been submitted. Your response has been submitted. That's it. It leaves you feeling like, now what? What am I supposed to do? Your hottest leads are running into this page all the time. You got to remember that it takes a lot of momentum just to get them to this page. I mean, we're probably paying for a ton of paid media just to get them to fill out the little form at the bottom of the landing page so that they can hit this one thank you page. And then we're just stopping them cold with a thanks, we'll get in touch. It's like, oh, wait. And if you've seen this movie in Pixar, you know, like they went through a lot of effort to get to the point where they could get back to the ocean. They're just floating here in the little baggie. Now what? Where do we go from here? Your leads, your inquiries are experiencing the same thing. So let's take a look at some examples. In fact, look at a good, better, best example of what could be there so that you can take advantage of the momentum that got them to fill out the page and let them keep going. Because while some people will stop there, we know a percentage of them, somebody's going to keep going. Somebody wants the next steps. Let's not let them think about or imagine what those next steps will be. Let's paint a picture for them. So let's look at some of those examples. DeVry University. They put in, thank you, David, which David is like my alter ego that I fill out all lead forms with. So if you ever see a David Sanchez, it's probably me secret shopping your system. In fact, quick tip, secret shop your competitors, secret shop, especially for-profit universities. They tend to be pretty good at this because they're watching their margins really closely. So DeVry is a good one to check out. I checked theirs out. It says, thank you, insert first name, a little bit better. They personalize it a little bit, have some copy around the hybrid degree programs that I told them I wanted to know more about. And at least they put it apply here now because we know a small percentage, and it might only be 1%. It might be less than 1%. We'll be like, sure, why not? Might as well let them keep going because the momentum, again, is already there. They filled out the form. So this isn't bad. Or Browso programs. It's a good start, but what's better? Let's move on to Full Sail, another for-profit university. And they kind of do the same thing. They have the begin. They have a call. Like, why wait for us to call you? Call us right now. They have a call center that can handle that, of course, not always possible. And then they link to the program that I said I was interested in. In this case, it was this new media journalism's master. And they have a brochure. I really like the idea of this brochure because it's probably what they're requesting. Why wait for it to come in the mail? They can look at it now. And then it comes in the mail, bam, they'll look at it again because they requested it. And there's something about holding your hand and flipping through it that people want to see. Why they want to see it, I don't know, but I've sent out a lot of brochures and people like them. So, but what's best? This was one of the best examples I could find. And it comes from Western Governors University. And since they're one of the fastest growing universities, it's kind of like, well, that makes sense, right? Thank you for your interest in WGU. Setting expectations. Someone's going to get into contact with you shortly, and they're one of the people that will call you in like 5, 10, 15 minutes. It's fast. DeVry will too. So if you give them a real phone number, just be prepared to be called. But they give us a video that kind of matches the persona. Again, WGU targets adult students. So this video lines up with that. They say, what's next? Well, you can call us, kind of like they did at Full Sail. They have the call center hours, but then they have a list. This page actually goes down farther, and they list out and start answering proactively what the most, I know what is going to be their most frequently asked questions for an inquiry at this stage. You know, you can start to see it peek out here. What's the tuition? Here's the financial aid. They don't have to guess what's next. Call us. Here's the most frequently asked questions. They have the little chat thing going on here too. So this is how you can take advantage of this page instead of just stopping them like, oh, what now? Your contact form's been submitted. You know, it's what these form software does by default. You don't want the default. You want to customize this one page. And honestly, once you set this, you can forget it because it'll continue working for you every day, all year, as people fill out the form. Give them the next steps on this one page. And again, the results from doing this, maybe 1%. But remember, there's outsized returns when you can increase that rate that we saw 7%. Maybe this gets you to 8%, and we can do some more things to get that 8% to 12% and starts making a massive difference throughout your funnel. Next one, let's talk PPC. So let's launch another poll here to see what digital platforms people are running paid ads on. I'd love to see where you guys are spending money in order to recruit new students. Relaunching that poll, Mallory. I haven't seen it pop up. I don't know if I could get to see it in presenter mode.
My apologies. I am launching it right now. And while we haven't had any questions yet, Alexandria did say in the chat that she's typing up a few notes for her website admin right now. I think we're going to see her institution have a refreshed thank you page very soon. But I think those are really great points, Dan. I mean, it's such prime real estate and so easy to overlook, right? I don't know if you actually knew this, but my former employer actually redesigned Lipscomb's website. So when you pulled that up, I was like, huh, okay.
It was a nice looking website. It was nice.
It is.
Thank you page got a little ignored because again, no one really looks at it.
Nobody's looking at it. All right. So this poll's been running for about a minute now, and I can see that most people have participated so far. So I'm going to give it another 5 seconds, then I'm going to close it down and share the results so that we can all take a look. All right. So let's share with everybody. We've got Facebook and Instagram ads at 84%, Google ads at 65%, YouTube 27%, LinkedIn 30%, so about the same. And then programmatic 3%, Twitter about 5%, 0% at Pinterest, and other about 14%. So the top three, I don't think super surprising, are Google ads, Facebook and Instagram ads, and then LinkedIn.
Yep. About what I was expecting to see. It's good to see that people are using YouTube. I love YouTube. And one random fact, you might want to try Pinterest. I've done it. I've seen good results there. I don't have any slides for that today, but maybe that needs to be another conversation for later. You'd be surprised what you could do with Pinterest. But of course, all the ones that people are running, Google ads, Facebook, Instagram ads, fantastic. I want to share a small tweak that gave us some outsized returns when I was the marketing director for this university when it comes to Facebook and Instagram ads. So I'm happy to see that there's 84% of you are running this. So this should be highly relevant. So let's take a look. So coming back to a different private college, Crown College, which was kind of a competitor I was running up against in Minneapolis when I was a marketing director there. And fun tip, you can actually pull any of your competitors' ads on Facebook. I think it's Facebook. If you just Google Facebook ad library, you can put in the page of your competitor or any university you want or any company you want and see what ads they're currently running and who they're running them to. That's how I got all these ads for Crown College. Fun little tidbit. But they're running ads and they look great. But what would you expect to click on one of these ads, right? We have some story ads. We got some ads in the feed. We got some carousel ads. If you click on one of these, you'd expect to come to a landing page. right? And I only have the top half of this landing page, but it's a well-built landing page. There's a form on the bottom where you can request more information, right? It's that form we were just looking at before, the thank you page before. So, but there's an issue with these campaigns, specifically in Instagram, and that a good percentage of the people that are engaging with your ad are not clicking that link in the ad. They're doing something different, and you're losing leads because of it. And this is the easiest fix that I'm going to give you today, that you could possibly make, and it will make a difference in the amount of leads you can generate. So let's take a look. What they're actually doing is, instead of clicking the ad and clicking learn more, they're coming up to the profile and clicking on your little logo on the corner or the name and coming into your Instagram profile. Why? Because they want to see what's going on. They want to see what you've been talking about recently. They probably dive into a few of these posts, watch a few videos, and kind of see what's going on, read your copy here. This is almost a mini landing page in and of itself. The problem with Crown College, and the problem of what most we were doing, what I was doing before, is that we have something like this link tree going on. A lot of your people that you're running paid media to are not going to click the ad. They're going to click the profile, and they're going to go to the link tree link in the middle, right? And what do we have for their link tree account? It's going to be this list, okay, Nook article, sign up for a visit day, Crown website, personalized virtual visit. Not bad things. All good things, right? The problem is we want them to fill out the lead form. And if we give them too many options, they're going to convert less overall. While we might have gotten 100 leads before, we're probably only going to get 20, maybe 10 leads now, and maybe one visit day and one personalized virtual visit. The more options you give people, the less of the thing that you want to drive outcome you get. So limiting it down to one, which I always recommend getting that request more info form filled out, is the best option. So this is what I did, and the returns that I saw was actually, I'm going to try to go through, is sending people back to this landing page, taking the link in the bio, and instead of sending them to a link tree, just send them back to the most general landing page you can. This can be tough because you might have different landing pages per campaign. Take the most general one that's the best fit across all of them, put that in the link in the bio. Your social media team might take issue with this. So you have to balance, because they want the link tree thing. So you kind of have to balance with your social media team. You're like, yeah, but how many people are clicking through to Linktree, and how well is it working for them? And you might say, like, well, how much paid media are we spending on Instagram right now? Because when I changed this one tiny little thing, 20% of my leads were coming through that link. 20%. That's a lot of leads for something you're probably spending thousands of dollars a month on. 20% is a massive difference when it comes to actually getting more people into your funnel, because so many people don't click the ad, they click through the profile. So take a look. Even just run a test and say, social media team, we're just going to test this for a couple of weeks. Let's see how it goes. It won't hurt your social media game too much. So one keyword you should bid on, this is the third little tweak that you can make. A number of you are already running Google AdWords campaigns. And if you're not running Google AdWords campaigns, it'd be worth setting up an account just to bid on this one keyword. So what's that keyword? What thing am I talking about? It's bidding on yourself. This can seem really counterintuitive at first, and I promise most colleges aren't doing this. I went and checked I checked all the local colleges in my vicinity just to see like how many people are doing this. Some are, most aren't. So I have Volunteer State Community College as an example of a community college nearby where I live. And naturally, they don't bid on their own name. And it makes sense. Like, why would you bid on something you're already ranking for organically? Why would you do that? Like, it's not like, okay, well, they already go to our homepage, but let's take a look at their homepage. Okay, it's a nice design. It's clean. There's no request more information button, but even if there were, a well-optimized website probably generates between 2% to 3% and that would be good. That would be above average, way above average, to be getting 3% of the total visits to actually click request more. And this means I have that button everywhere, and it's well emphasized. Only 3% at most. It's probably less. So let's see what some other institutions are doing. and talk about why they're doing it. Full sale, again, look, sponsored right here. They're bidding on their own name, even though they rank organically #1 for themselves. But why would they do that? Why would they waste money on something they already get for free? There's a reason. They're sending people to a landing page where the conversion rate's probably between 10 and 15%. Remember, at best, you're probably getting 3% sending to the website. The website has so many options, but a well-defined landing page, by only giving them one option, again, gives you more outcome. In this case, it seems like a full website. It's very sneaky design. You can click through a lot of these headers at the top. It actually just changes out some of the content. This form's still there. It's not their full website. This is a really good landing page, and the for-profit institutions, again, they invest a lot of money in this because they're trying to make some money. So they're trying to make things efficient, but we can steal what they do and just like literally steal what for-profit universities are doing in a lot of cases and just use it as a baseline to improve our own stuff. So that's what they're doing. Let's take a look at another. Oh, DeVry University, bidding on their own name. Same thing, landing page, where they can find out about their degree programs. I think they're pitching the university as a whole, right? So very general landing page, but because it converts at a higher percent rate, it's worth doing. Again, same for Western Governors University. Even though we're a nonprofit university, they're still bidding on their own name and taking people to an optimized landing page where they actually are emphasizing apply for free or requesting info. The
Dan,
best thing about this.
Oh, I was just going to say,
Let's
Dan,
jump
there
in.
is one thing that everybody in higher ed laments, and we have anyone who's worked on a campus, you and me included, know that homepage real estate is highly political and everybody wants some space on it, right? And even when I mean, my gosh, working for M. Stoner for all those years, we would spend more time having to hammer out what was going to be on that homepage because of the politicized nature of it with folks at every level of the organization. And you have just given us a way to leapfrog all of those challenges. I love it.
Send people to the landing page. And you probably already have a landing page. That's the best part. We're talking about the most simple AdWords campaign you could possibly make. It's one keyword, maybe two if you have two or three variations of your name. You can lock it in, set that thing, kind of write the ad copy once. The best part is you won't have any competition unless you're so popular already that you probably aren't. You're already laughing at my 5 tips already, right? Because you're that popular. You have people bidding on your name. So you probably have no competition. You will be the most relevant bidder because what's more relevant than your own website, right? That's how Google that's how Google not only ranks things, but charges. The most relevant ones pay less. This is by far the most relevant. So you pay per click way less than you pay for everything else. That's why it's your cheapest leads that you can buy, is bidding on this thing. And because it converts at a higher percent, it makes it all worthwhile. My favorite other last point about bidding on your own name is it makes the most out of all your other campaigns. When I was running other campaigns, I noticed this particular keyword volume would go up. If I was running a lot of Facebook ads and turned it off, people searching for our institution name would go down. Because a lot of people will see the ad, maybe even click through the landing page, not convert, but they'll remember later, maybe after they've seen the ad a few more times. So what do? They go to Google, search for your name, because they're never coming direct to your website unless it's a link click from somewhere. They're going to go to Google and look for your institution. So instead of sending them to your general website, let's send all that goodwill, all that momentum you build up with your events, with your other paid media, with all the blogging and social media you're doing and the referrals and all that stuff is leading to more people searching for you on Google. Let's capture more of that traffic at the cheapest rate you can possibly get on anywhere else. And it's going to be fire leads for you. So this is the one keyword you want to bid on if you're not bidding on anything else. A lot of people are now contacting their PPC manager, I'm sure. They're are we bidding on our own? I bet half the people in this webinar went and just searched to see if they're already doing this. Let's move on. Baby steps are faster. It's the other little tweak that we made to our funnel that made a massive difference. Baby steps. because the jump from inquiry to started app is a massive jump. It's a lot to think through, to have a general interest, to like committing to filling out that application and paying a small app fee. It's a huge journey to take. It's a lot of questions to answer. It's a lot of excitement to build, energy to build in order for them to overcome the next hurdle. So breaking it down into baby steps works wonderfully. Here's how I was able to do it and what I recommend for others. So we all know that, in my opinion, the journey starts with request more info after like the initial ad campaign. This is where the journey really starts. And we have the end of the journey for at least this part of the stage is just starting the application, filling out that initial form, and then we can handle it from there. Most institutions have a list of emails. If you're doing this pretty well, you probably have some kind of a drip sequence going on. They fill out the form, they get a series of emails, and everybody gets the same email. It's first email day 1, second email day 3, third email day 7. Like we've seen this over and over again. And you might be having some phone calls in there where you actually follow up with that inquiry. You give them a call, all to start the app. But what if we could break it down into some smaller steps? The reason is, if we can break it down to smaller steps, we can customize the emails a little bit more in order to drive the behavior we want to see. So what I recommend is setting maybe a step around first call, because if we can get them on the phone just one time, it makes a massive difference, because we can actually talk to them, unpack their motivations, what they want to do, address their obstacles, and actually paint a picture of them being at our university. Makes a massive difference just to get them on that first phone call. So what we can do is build an email. So we could take that one email from our sequence we had before, which was probably already prompting them to get to that first phone call. Maybe it was schedule an appointment. And we can just use that same email again. Oh, is that showing up for you guys? It's like kind of half showing up for me. Anyway,
Yeah,
3 emails.
we can see it.
It like kind of phased in for me slow. You can get 3 more emails in there and actually just duplicate the same email. I like to take the same email and just change the subject line 3 times to drive to a micro behavior. It might be schedule an appointment. And if they don't actually engage with the first one and schedule the appointment, we send another one being like, hey, are you still interested in the university? Same email, 3rd email. Hey, last chance. Just change the subject line to drive to a micro behavior, because a lot of times people will request info and then they don't take action on it. Shoot, we've all run like lead magnet campaigns where we're trying to give a valuable piece of content, and what happens? They don't download it. Why? Maybe only 60% download it. And what I found is, if you just send a few more attempts for them to do it, you'll probably go from 60%, 10%, 4%. That's an extra 14% on top of the 60%. Makes a massive difference if driving them to the phone call is your main goal. So think about, what are the main things for you? I might drive them to a phone call, and then my next goal might be driving them to a visit. If I were a community college, that'd probably be the next best thing I do. It's local, right? It's easy to come visit. If you're not doing a national advertising campaign, getting them to come visit campus is going to be my next objective I drive them to, knowing that that will likely be the thing that drives them to start the app. So breaking down these big steps of requesting info and starting the app into micro steps helps you build your campaign in such a way that you're more likely to drive the actions you want to see. So let's talk about our last one today, the single most powerful message you should send. And it's 2 sentences. You could put this in your one campaign and it should see a outsized return from this one message in one medium, just sent one time to each lead. I know it sounds ridiculous that one message can have this big a result, but hear me out. Let's take a look at it. So here's the funnel we were looking at before, with your sequence of emails and your phone calls. Add one text message right in the beginning, 15 minutes after they request this info. Text messaging, by far, if I could only do one of these 3 mediums, email, phone call, text message, it's going to be text message, because texting is non-invasive. A lot of people don't like to just answer their phones from a cold call. So that's why we leave so many messages. Email is ignorable, but text messaging, people check and read those generally within 15 minutes of getting the text message. I know it's going to break through. When we implemented this one text message, in fact, let me show you what we sent, and then I'll tell you the results we had from this one text message. This is what I recommend putting in it to be really specific. Hi, first name. I saw that you asked for more info about the program name at school name. What did you find most interesting about the program? Rep first name. The magic of this one, and to give it like dress it up into some, oh, nope, skip past that. Dang, it's going too slow. I clicked twice.
There is a back button.
Yeah, but my back button wasn't working. So I'm just
Oh no.
Hi, David. I saw that you asked for more information about your AA multimedia technology degree at Front Range Community College. What did you find interesting about the program, Alicia? The beauty about this is just an open-ended question and it comes and centers around what's the thing that got them to fill out the lead form that they just filled out 15 minutes before. It's the easiest thing for them to answer because they were just thinking about it. There was some initial interest just 15 minutes before. And if you can get them to respond, chances are you can keep the conversation going and drive them to that phone call. We found that we can get 40% of people who filled out the request more information button that we sent this message to reply to it. And because we were able to get more people to reply and actually engage in something we sent, we were able to drive way more to that first phone call. And because we were able to drive more people to the first phone call, the more people were able to start apps. So this one message had an outsized return of all the hundreds of things we tested in order to triple our enrollment. We found that this one message probably had the biggest impact of all the things we did. Now, as many tweaks we made, again, every small tweak ends up to a bigger return on the bottom when it comes to students showing up on your campus. But I promise, trying to think about it systematically and adding these things in, like one-time things that get sent over and over again, and you can come back and improve, end up being the most meaningful things you can do to your system. Build a system that produces consistent results. Adding a message like this, adding a link to the ad platform or to your landing page and your Instagram bio, making baby steps so that you're leading to like these micro actions, all lead to outsized returns, especially when you put them all together. It ends up leading to drastically different results at the end of the funnel. So let's jump into some Q&A and talk about that, because I know I can tend to get really in the weeds. And if we have enough time, I have a bonus to go through. But if we don't have enough time, maybe I post that as a LinkedIn post later or something.
Sure. We might have enough time. At the moment, I do not have any questions yet, folks. So feel free to send them in. And while we're waiting for that, Dan, if you can pop ahead 2 slides, I did promise a little preview of what's coming up. And I am really excited to share that we have our Engage Summit at the end of this month. It's in Raleigh, North Carolina, June 27th and 28th. We have an incredible lineup of curated presentations. The schedule heavily leans into the latest technology trend of artificial intelligence and even prompt engineering. And together, we're going to dive into the mind of the modern student. The theme of this conference is unifying the student experience. So we're going to look at what motivates them, how they interact, what they expect in today's very digital first age, and then how we can put them in the driver's seat so that they are truly the heroes, right, of their academic journey. And it's going to be a really incredible experience. I do have a couple discount codes. So if you are interested in coming in person, shoot me a private message right now, and I will make sure I follow up with you, give you that discount code, and you can join us. We have, I would say, like maybe less than 15 spots available for in-person registrations. So we're actually closing registrations on Monday. If you're interested, let us know. Now, if you're sitting there and you're like, Mallory, you've sold me, but A, I don't have any travel budget left, or, B, I live in Seattle and getting to Raleigh at the end of this month is just not an option for me. Actually, I was commenting on a LinkedIn post from one of our attendees just this morning, where I, had a moment to reflect and say, wow, I guess as I look at the last, 10 years of conference attendance, 15 years, the things that stick out to me sometimes aren't the sessions that were on the schedule. It's the people I met. the networking that happened. So for me, that in-person experience is like very, very valuable. But again, like I was saying, I totally understand that that's just not simply an option for everybody. So you heard it here first. We have decided to make this entire conference available virtually at no cost. So if you are attending this webinar and you're like, wow, I really would benefit from learning more about this student-centric approach, or about how I can incorporate artificial intelligence into my workflows to be more productive, join us for free. We're going to give you 2 full days of conference access. You'll get access to all the recordings. So even if you can only attend 1 or 2 of the sessions live, you will get access to all of that content on the back end. Of course, in-person registrants will too, but our virtual attendees will get the recordings. And it is free, people. I'm just like, we made this decision this week. I am so excited about it. And I am sending the link out. I just sent it out in the chat so you can check out the agenda. The registration link on that page has that free virtual option. I'm seeing Shane sending out the ta-da emoji. I love it. So please let me know. And I'm seeing a few of those private messages come through too, interested in the discount code. I'm going to respond to all of you right now. Dan, I do have a question for you. So this is coming from Alexandria. She is wondering if you have ever noticed a difference on conversion rates between landing pages where they have to click once or more to get to the form versus when they immediately click into the text box to fill things out. And she's noting that they've been going back and forth at her institution with their ads on this, as their website isn't very flexible. And the form page, she says, looks like it was built in 1994. That is hilarious. Yep. I mean, that's not funny, but like, it's funny, Alexandria. Yep. So while you're answering that, Dan, I'm going to send out these discount codes.
And I think when you mean the form, do you mean like they fill out the lead form thing in Facebook or LinkedIn?
Yeah, she's saying, so between landing pages where they have to click once or more to get to the form versus one where they can just immediately click into the text box to fill things out.
Okay, so it's on the landing page.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
And there are landing page tactics where people like they instead of having the form, it has a button that says request information or request the brochure or whatever it is. And as soon as you click it, instead of going to a different page, sometimes a pop-up quickly pops up with the form, and usually like some kind of progress bar of some kind. If you're talking about that kind of progression, that works really well as far as revealing the form. Otherwise, I like to just put the form on the page and not have to work them through multiple pages. Now, in the case when we were looking at full sales landing page, where they had like multiple degree areas kind of listed across the top, since it was coming from Google and they didn't know what program they were interested in, they're kind of given, it was like a really robust landing page, but it was still a landing page. And they had that form ever present on the right side. So I think generally what I do with my landing pages is I will have the form on the bottom of the page and then have the button all over the page. And if they click it, automatically scrolls them down to the bottom. That's what I do. But I also love the quick pop-up thing where the form pops up if they trigger one. Those are kind of like my 2 favorite approaches. Actually, don't usually, a lot of universities do this, but they put the form at the top of the page.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done enough tests to know if that's the thing to do, but since so many people are doing it, it's probably worth testing at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hope that
All right,
answered your
Dan,
question.
we've got a couple minutes. Why don't you take us through that bonus?
Bonus.
I love a good bonus.
The power of app fees. The power of app fees. Like, I have a lot of, this usually hits people weird, but it's like, you have to charge an app fee. You will get more applications if you charge an app fee. It's very counterintuitive, but you have to charge an app fee in order to create urgency around applying now rather than later. So again, kind of coming back to this sequence, what I've done is charge some kind of app fee and then work into the sequence. I usually do it as a PS at the bottom of these emails, and might even send a few text messages towards the end of the sequence. And I build a custom 30-day campaign. So if they don't apply within 30 days, or you could set your own time frame, it could be 20 days, could be 1 week, could be 2 weeks. I'm generally doing it over a course of 30 days. And I say, hey, if you apply now, we can discount your app fee from $50 to $5. And that's the purpose of the app fee, is to discount it. Otherwise, why would they apply now rather than later? I'm giving them a reason, because you're going to save $45. I actually still like charging $5. Otherwise, what happen is if you make the application like way too easy, you you make a part 2 of the application, put it back and call starting an app, filling out a longer-ish form, and you don't charge an application fee, then those started apps just kind of like mess up your conversion rate later on. You're just pushing the problem farther down. So if you charge a minimal of $5, like you know, if they get to started app, there's a certain amount of quality there that then is easier to convert later on. Otherwise, I end up spending way too much time following up with people trying to get them to complete their apps later. So I like a little bit of skin in the game with $5. But again, you create an application fee so you can strategically discount it later on. And you work it into this whole system, and your whole request info to starting app is based around this timeline of actually applying before that 30-day deadline's up. It's what drives the phone calls. It's what drives a lot of the text messages, and is the PS at the bottom of every email, with maybe one email being focused solely on that one topic. When we did this, our average start or inquiry to started app was taking place around 34 days after they requested information. By implementing this one change, it dropped to 12 days. And I think it got even lower than that towards the end, but we were able to like drastically increase the rate of which we were actually able to start apps from the inquiries we were getting. Because again, they're at their most excited point when they request information. It's only going for they're getting less and less excited the more time goes on. So you want to give them an urgency to apply sooner rather than later. And they might say like, well, I need more time. That's okay. Let's apply now. And if we need to push it back to your start date, we can always do that. But getting them to start sooner and giving them a reason to is my one bonus tip. This one's a little bit more sophisticated to set up depending on how you're taking app fees, how that's worked into your system. You might have to take the app fee after they fill out the app and then send them a specialized link to one app fee or the other. And I have a hard deadline. Like I do not let them take the discounted app fee if it's in that 30-day, except for one exception. If they show up to a campus visit weekend or a preview weekend, then I just let them apply for free because they've already put in skin in the game to show up. That's my one, hey, you should apply at the visit weekend, and we're waiving all app fees. So you get them all to apply on site. That's my one extra little bonus. So give them a reason to apply sooner rather than later. Otherwise, what's stopping them from applying in January versus September? Nothing.
There you go.
You want them to apply sooner. Give them a reason.
Creating incentives. So smart. So smart. All right, folks, we are right at that 45-minute mark. Dan, thank you so much for sharing these 5 tips plus the bonus. Really appreciate your expertise and knowledge today. And if the webinar chat is any indicator, it sounds like there are going to be some web admins, social media managers, and digital ad specialists who are going to be getting some notes from the attendees today. You've given us a lot to chew on and think about, and I just can't agree more. These small little changes, like you showed us at the beginning, that small little change on that conversion rate can have a huge impact when we know we are fighting for every single enrolled student right now. So thank you for your time, Dan. Folks, I so hope we'll get to see you in Raleigh, or at least virtually, for the Engage Summit later this month. And keep an eye out on our website. We will be letting you know what our next webinar will be very, very soon. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. Great start to June, and take that adventurous or relaxing vacation because you've earned it. Bye, everybody. Thank you.